Welcome back, everyone. Chances are, if you want to comment or criticize or compliment on a controversial political issue here in Toledo, chances are you can log on to the World Wide Web and go to GlassCityJungle and find the woman who's created that blog, sometimes offering her opinion, sometimes offering the issue to debate or comment on. It is Lisa Renee Ward, who we welcome back to Conklin Company.
It's nice to be back.
For the second time, I believe, on this program.
That's the second time.
We last saw you, I'm going to say, over a year ago now.
Correct. It was right after the first of the year, I believe.
And at that time, GlassCityJungle, not quite in its infancy, but relatively new. And at that time, Lisa, I believe 10,000 to 12,000 hits a month?
It was pretty close to that. Once in a great while, it would break 20.
Where is it now?
Between 60 and 70,000 a month. Almost more than you can handle it.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have a full-time job?
No, just staying home.
This sounds like this is it.
Sometimes it feels like it.
How many hours a day? Because sometimes you will document all the activities, the agenda, the minutes of a Toledo City Council meeting.
On an average day, probably 6. On the days when City Council meets, those usually take a little bit longer because it takes between 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long they're doing it, to watch the program again and then transcribe the notes from there.
If a political candidate comes to town, if we moderate a debate, Lisa Renee Ward is there. Not paid.
No.
Right?
No.
Why do you do this?
Some would say because I'm crazy. But I think it's mainly because I started out with the goal of trying to provide information and trying to create a place where people could come to discuss both sides of an issue, to be able to try and find a common ground.
How do you keep it civil?
I think
sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's not, but I think considering that I'm a mom of 5, I think you develop kind of patience and a tolerance, so sometimes I have to wait in and actually play mom and remind people of the rules.
Do you have some similar suspects who come in and really want to spice things up, and how do you tell them back off?
I try whenever possible to deal with that kind of thing off the blog by email, so that I'm not purposely calling someone out or trying to embarrass them. But there has been one situation in the past year where I've actually had to ban someone from the site. In the
2+ years that the blog has been in place, GlassCityJungle, has there been one topic that has drawn the most traffic? One particular topic? Or does that necessarily mean one particular person?
It would probably be one particular person, and it would actually, besides the mayor, because the mayor generates a lot of discussion, it would probably be the Karen McConnell Hancock story.
Right.
That seemed to draw.
Which is still making news.
Still making comments on the blog as well.
Do you have any idea how many people, what kind of traffic in relation to that, in terms of that subject?
That got to the point where there were over 5,000 hits an hour during some time point of that story, when that story was breaking and she was first missing, and then we found out that she wasn't really missing. I mean, that was probably one of the most hit stories on the blog.
Are you surprised that you will put up a subject, and the headline may look very interesting, and you'll have no comments? It just depends on what floats people's boat that particular day.
It really bothered me when I first started, and I would do hours and hours of research on a topic, and then you'd get like 1 or 2 comments, and then I'd post something about the mayor and his dog, and you'd have 100 comments and no time at all. But what I track more than the comments is the reads, and as long as the posts that I'm doing the research on are being well read, which I can track, it feels like at least people out there are interested in reading it. There's a lot of people that are a little bit afraid to jump into the jungle because even though I try to keep it civil, and it is really civil compared to a lot of other sites out there, it's scary for people.
Do you know, or you have any idea of knowing who is reading the GlassCityJungle? I mean, so many people read it who will not participate, who just go on. And when you talk to people, Mayor Finkbeiner reading it?
I don't think
we know that he's not into the blogosphere, the mayor. We know that Frank Shalassi is. We've seen Frank out there in a number of blogs. He's at his own. But do you have any idea of knowing who else out there is reading the blog?
Oh, definitely. I have a whole school of analytics programs attached to the blog, so I can track readership as far as knowing which posts are the ones most people visit, whether people are interested enough to click on the read more, where they're are coming
Sure.
from, which one thing is remained constant is a good 75% of the readership of GlassCityJungle is directly in the northwestern Ohio area.
When you put up a post and you do get a lot of traffic, is it hard to keep yourself from offering opinion? You know, it seems as if you have gotten more aggressive with your opinion. I'm going to say in the last 6 months. Would that be accurate?
I think I have on some topics. The decision for me was with the presidential campaign after John Edwards dropped out, and I had to decide who I was going to support. I caught a lot of heat for deciding to make that opinion known. I've since tried to keep most of my national topics on my other blog that focuses on national, but I think I have gotten a little bit more opinionated on some stories, but I'm still trying to keep to the basic principle of when covering things like Toledo City Council, to just get the information out there and the facts.
How long, Lisa Renee, do you foresee doing this? You spend so much time on it. I mean, obviously you enjoy it. You're a political junkie. Where you don't make any money at. Have you thought about turning this into a potential money-making situation?
I've thought about it at times, especially since the amount of time that I spend on it has increased since when I first started it. But I haven't figured out a way to be able to balance that and still be able to not be meet accusations of bias. I would have to do that very carefully. I've looked at it, but it's something I haven't decided yet to do.
I want to ask you about certain topics, and I asked you, what particular topic drew the most traffic, and it was the Carol Hancock story. I'm going to go back to Stripper Day at the Democratic Party. A lot of traffic?
A lot of traffic.
The Marine situation with the mayor and the Marines.
That was a lot of traffic as well. And that's still generating some comments even after this date from people that will search something on a search engine and come back and throw a comment in even after this time.
Anything else so those were three particular topics that really drew a lot of traffic. Anything else?
John Steinbrück has drawn a lot of traffic recently.
The Steinbrück-Reichert fight.
Correct.
With Steinbrück winning the GOP chairmanship in the last week and a half. I appreciate you coming in, Lisa Renee. Thanks very much for checking in.
Thank you.
It is Toledo's blogosphere, and she is the queen of the Glass City Jungle. Lisa Renee Ward, thanks very much.
Thanks. Someone get a crown.
Yeah, there you go. When we come back in just a minute, take 3, Tom Troy and Skylar Meadows right